The Holodomor. The Holodomor. Do you know that Soviet leader Stalin caused the Ukrainian people to engage in cannibalism? Yes, that was as recently as the 1930s. And that took place despite Ukraine being the breadbasket of Europe at the time. Let's delve into this outrageous account of real life under Stalin. This is one in a series of 20th century stories triggered by unbelievable decisions made by people in power. Death by hunger. There is a general consensus that the Soviet Ukraine famine of 1932–33 was man-made, but there is some dispute over it being deliberately genocidal. Of course, those who believed that it was genocide, 34 countries believe, claimed that it was Stalin's method of eliminating the Ukrainian independence movement. However, looking at what led to the famine, we see Stalin implementing collectivization in the agricultural sector of the Soviet Union. In October 1929, a mere 7% of household farms were collective. But by February of the very next year, that number was 53%. That's how forceful and rushed the process was. Of course, there was a lot of resistance to such conversion, to the point of some owners sabotaging farm output. Collectivization was equivalent to the end of the world, as far as some peasants were concerned. When it was clear that farm output was not keeping up with demand or forecasts, rationing was introduced. The famine covered more than the Ukraine in the Soviet Union, but keep in mind that Ukraine was the #1 source of grain in the Soviet republics. So, when Stalin implemented severe rationing, it was the main source of the grain that was hardest hit. It was said that the famine, once it set in, was selectively weaponized against the Ukrainians, causing more of them than others to die from it. Just try to imagine starving to death but not being allowed to move anywhere else to survive. This happened because Stalin put a restriction on migration. The suffering population had to stay where they were, and die if it came to that. 10% of the population starved to death. Whichever country you are in as you read this, to help to visualize what that meant, picture in your mind 1 of every 10 of your citizens dying from starvation. In 2003, 25 countries issued and signed a joint statement to the United Nations stating that 7 to 10 million had died in the Ukraine due to the famine. More current estimates take the numbers down somewhat to 3.5 to 7 million victims. Either way, millions are millions. The commencement of the starvation times revealed what humans were capable of doing to survive. There were well-documented incidents of cannibalism taking place in severely affected regions. Never in the history of mankind was cannibalism so widespread as during the Holodomor. Vasily Sokur, 2008. The following is a list of some of the harrowing things that occurred during the Ukrainian famine, as documented by researchers and writers. Those who shared food with others died. Those who refused to steal died. Those who refused to eat the dead died themselves. Those who refused to kill and eat other humans, including their children, died. At least 2,500 were sentenced for cannibalism in 1932–33. Children were hunted down and killed for food. Police kept a close eye on meat sellers for the inclusion of human flesh. Further, as if death by starvation was not enough of the things that were horrific for Ukrainians, a mass grave from the purge times was discovered in 2021 in Odessa. It was the burial site of between 5,000 and 8,000 victims. Such added to the mystery. Oh, the things that humans are capable of doing to each other. The Ukraine Holodomor scene. Recall that Ukraine was a part of the Soviet Union until the end of the 80s, so it should not surprise us that the very first time the word famine was used there officially was in 1987 during the occasion of that republic's 70th anniversary. In the Soviet Union itself, any reference to the Holodomor was labeled anti-Soviet propaganda. This continued until the declassification of documents and the publication of other overwhelming evidence in the late 80s, before acceptance was forced upon the administration there. Discussion of it became part of the glasnost or openness period. Immigrant organizations in Canada and the United States that were based on the Ukraine diaspora were by 1978 using the term Holodomor in publications. Holodomor Memorial. Do you know who ran concentration camps before the Nazis and the Soviets? You may be in for a big surprise. Check out the Next for the Mind video. Like and subscribe.